much like the most I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that is so interesting. So when I'm thinking like when I'm doing my readings for Virgos, I'm like, I must be channeling John's energy because he is just the embodiment of a Virgo.
I've
Like
got a
in
lot
so
of
many
stuff
different
there. Yeah, I really do. I
ways. You
think
really do.
what makes me a little different is my Mars and Leo in the 12th house, and
Yes.
then my Saturn
Yep.
in the 8th house with Chiron and the North Node,
Yep.
and then the Neptune in the 3rd house. A lot of people don't understand me when I talk to them. They have to like
Mm.
hear me twice because they I'll say something but they'll hear something completely different. I don't know why, but I think it's the Neptune there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that
strange.
could definitely, but it could also is probably why you're a poet. You know, it's like exactly. It's like there's so much creativity and spirituality. And I have so much to say about your chart, but before we begin, is it okay if I record this, or do you not want it
Yeah,
recorded?
I'd like it
Okay.
recorded, please. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I always say, like, I'm gonna record it, and I can send you the audio, but you feel free to also record it
Okay.
in case something crazy happens, you know,
Recording in progress.
All right, Jess.
and yeah, so that you have your own version as well.
And I kind of just started a channel a while ago, and I I've been what I've been meaning to do is to reach out to those few astrologers that I've talked to, and find out if I could get their permission to put their video on it as well, on my channel. That is
Like in what way?
just like a mirror. That's all. And also put their services on there because I've had some pretty cool readings from some other people,
Yeah,
but I
I
haven't
don't
done
see
that
any
yet.
problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I yeah, I want to check out your YouTube channel too, and some of your, like, you already have books that you published, right?
This is one here. Can you see it?
No, your video is off.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Hold on. Why is it off? Um, oh, the video's off. Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't click it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, okay, that's the
This
one I saw.
this is the
Yeah.
one that I have. Yeah. And and you want to hear one poem from here?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to take up
I know
your
it's
time.
really short, really short.
Okay.
It's really short. It's called Echo Brain. When I'm lonely, I'm not alone, even though I stay at home. I wasn't like this all the time. I remember when all was fine. Oh, the times that I once had, always happy, never sad. I recall long ago, I knew many had places to go. Now my wishes can be forgot, and all the dreams that I have sought. Reflect myself from within me. How can I feel I can't be free when all the people are not like me?
Wow.
That's the
That's
first
so
one.
amazing. I just got chills, John, because I wanted to, oh my God, like that last line,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
all the people are not like me, I have like full body chills right now because one of the things that I saw when I looked at your human design okay, so, but the thing that's really interesting for you that I noticed immediately,
Yeah.
well, a few things, but the first thing is this, see how all these arrows are pointing right? These are your variables, and I'm not going to go super in deep into all of them because with human design, we really try to not like inundate you with a lot of information because that's what tends to happen. And then it takes people into the mind, which you have a defined mind. So it would be even easier for you, you have strength there to kind of try to analyze it. Whereas human design is really about being in the body. But when you have all four arrows pointing to the right, that is a really rare thing to have. And our society is actually built for people who are quad left. Left, yeah. So when you say in your poem, like a level of awareness you have around the fact that other people are not like you, is that we have been conditioned throughout society. I have two arrows that point to the right as well, and they're my mind and my brain. But your mind and your brain and your body are passive rather than strategic.
Wow.
So it means that you are truly one of the most receptive type of beings that take in everything. And you're not meant to, your essence and what you are here to do for the world is be something. It's not to do this or do that, which is really hard because as a manifesting generator, that you hear all the time, like, oh, you're here to work, you're here to do this. And it's like, you are, but it's how you do it and the impact that you have on other people because of your level of awareness, because of your level of receptivity. That's what people are, that's how you impact the world. It's the way you do everything in your life. It's not just the one thing you do and your book that you write, it's all of it together. And when you're quad right, life can be kind of difficult because society is quad left. So quad left is strategic. Strategic meaning that there is a sense of, okay, I'm gonna learn this information and then I'm gonna make use of it in this way. And strategic people, they have a very narrow focus. So when we are in school, people take notes because they're trying to learn certain things and they have certain notes and everything else just kind of falls to the wayside. And we're taught, you learn things, you use them. You learn things, you use them. And that's the strategic being. When you're a quad right, you take in everything. You don't need to take notes. You can. I do sometimes too. I have right in me, but you don't know how much you're taking in until somebody asks you a question and then you're like something comes out of you and you're like, how did I know that? I didn't even think I knew that. A lot of people who are quad right think they have like really bad memories or they don't know anything. But the truth is you are just, you actually know everything. You know so much. And you're waiting for the right people to pull it out of you when you're a quad right. And so it can be hard because the world is saying, this is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be focused and you're supposed to have, you're supposed to take in information and then spit it out in the way that you learned it and have a goal and have a focus. And so we're conditioned like this. And yet when you're a quad right, it's like, you're a well of resource.
I'm also,
you are here.
Sorry about it. I'm also
No.
a Leo Virgo. And Leo Virgo is the prophecy, which means that I have secrets and I wait till the proper time to reveal them.
Yes.
That's what I do. I do it all the time.
Yeah, and even just your 6447, that's a very, that's like being a vessel to receive. There's so many things in your chart and in your human design that is showing that you are very intuitive, and that 6447 is a channel of receiving downloads, and that you're literally here to just be an open vessel to receive the downloads when they come and not worry about like the trying to figure it out for yourself, but just to know that whatever download you get, it's it doesn't need to be figured out. You just need to accept it, receive it, and give it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's it. So when somebody's a quad right, though, it becomes even more important for them to use their strategy and authority. So are you familiar with strategy and authority in human design?
Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat?
My strategy,
Okay.
I think, one of them is like a satisfaction, and the other one is...
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are your themes. And so you're an emotional manifesting generator. So
Right. I got
manifesting generators are here to respond, right? So response can be to anything. I can say, hey, John, you want to do this? And it's a response. You see an ad on the streets that says, come to Bermuda. And you're like, yeah, I want to go to Bermuda. But it's about waiting for something outside or, something to initiate a response from you to move forward. Where it gets complicated is that you're an emotional being. So as an emotional being, you have to wait for clarity. Yes. So remember how you were saying you say yes to something and then it comes and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's the emotional wave. So someone asks you, you're on a peak, you're top of your wave. Someone's like, you want to go to dinner next week? You're like, heck yeah, I do. Oh, can't wait. And then you hit your low and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to go. And then you hit your high and then you're like, it won't be too bad. And it's just this, so, and then at some point you reach this like clarity, and we're looking about 60 to 70%, just to make sure you know this as an emotional authority. You're never going to be 100% sure.
Right.
It's always going to be,
that, yeah.
You feel that? Okay, yeah. It's always going to be about 60, 70%. So what happens is this world, once again, like your poem, I love that you chose that poem to read to me because it's so spot on to what I wanted to, what I see in your chart. Emotional authority is an awareness center. It's the newest awareness center in human design. It is not integrated into society yet. So here's another other way where, you are here and you have this emotional awareness that requires time. It requires you to have to take your time to make decisions. And the world is like, what's your decision? Somebody asks you to dinner. It's kind of weird for someone to say, you know what, let me get back to you on that. I'll let you know tomorrow. Let me sleep on it. Most people are just like, yeah or no. And so I'm an emotional authority as well. So I understand this, and I will say for you specifically, because you've got your conscious sun, which is about 70% of your personality, in this channel that goes into the emotional center. Like, look at your sacral is very defined. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of energy to do stuff. That is crazy. And your throat, you have a lot to say. You have a lot to say. And you can talk to a lot of different types of people, I'm sure. Is that?
I'm going to tell you one job that I used to have. I used to be an outside salesperson for a dealership of ADT, and I would knock on 100 doors a day for 3 years solid. And I got really good at convincing people to let me into their homes. And every night I'd be in people's homes. And I'd sell a lot, I'd made a lot of money. And the reason I got the job was because I was in $37,000 in debt. And I needed a job. And then some guy called me up and goes, yeah, I'm from Zero Debt Solutions. I can help you with your debt. And then I told him how much I had exactly. And then he goes, okay, if you could pay me $600 in the next, for 3 years straight every month, I can help you. And I go, okay, let's do it. And I didn't have a job that had enough money to pay $600 for 3 years. I didn't have that, but I knew deep down that I can do it. And then I got a job. I worked my ass off. I paid that debt off in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a very high level of charisma in your chart. Very high level of charisma. And I wanted, like, you had talked about knowing numerology as well, so I always do your numerology. And you're a 3811 life path.
Right.
So once again, like, such a powerful, creative, and it's like this, it's very powerful for creativity and material success. But 3811s versus the other 11s, the 2911s, to me have this level of charisma and like inspiration, and that's another thing I saw in your chart a lot, was that there's so much ability for you to inspire people. Okay, speaking of that, one thing you had said in your when you made the appointment was about career and purpose.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting is when I do readings for people who have an open G center, they're always wanting to know their purpose and career. And the G center is about life direction. It's about identity. And yours is completely open. Mm-hmm. So it means that you are here to embody what it means to have no set identity. You're not, and this is another area where we're so easily conditioned by society is like, well, who are you? What do you do? And you're here to inspire people that they're not limited to certain circumstances. They're not limited to being a set way, even if they've been that way for so long. You're here to embody, look at me, look at my life, look at all the different identities I've taken on. And that is a way to inspire people. But oftentimes what happens, because wherever we're open in human design is where we are most conditioned. So society conditions these parts because we don't have strength there. So the strength is lacking in our sense of, who am I? Like, what am I here to do? Like, what am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to accomplish? And it's not, and if you really sit with yourself and you do the deconditioning process and you follow your strategy and authority, you'll find that underneath that, there's such an openness, and you learn that you're here to actually teach people that you don't need to be confined to certain identities, that you can expand beyond that. And so that, in a way, could be your purpose, right? And in Gene Keys, are you familiar with Gene Keys at all?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. So it kind of was an offshoot by Richard Rudd. He learned from Ra-Uru-Hu, human design, and he expanded upon the gates.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it's very, very interesting. I absolutely love it. But one of the things that we talk about in Gene Keys is that your unconscious Mars, so this right here in gate 16, is your core wound, but it's also your vocation. Okay, so that is gate 16 here, which is where I actually have my son. So that's very interesting. But gate 16 is a channel, or is a gate of enthusiasm. And so you are here, kind of like I was saying, the feeling that you give to others through anything that you do is enthusiasm. And enthusiasm literally means full of God, right? That's the Greek word enthusiasm. The roots of it mean full of God. So you're here to just inspire that sense of feeling in people, of enthusiasm and joy. And you do that through all of the things, because you have a midheaven in Gemini. So lots of variety. Like when you said you drive Uber, I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love that job.
Yeah. My dad's a Virgo sun, and he owned a cab company, and then he was a cab driver as well. Like, and he loved it because he got to make his own schedule.
Right.
And Virgos
exactly.
are such like entrepreneurial type people. You know, and then having your midheaven there, yeah, definitely. Writing, communication, speaking, like doing your videos and things like that. Yeah, it's just amazing. So for you, it's really about giving people that sense of enthusiasm through whatever medium you choose.
Yeah, like if I can do it, you can do it.
Yes. And like this can sometimes be the core wound too, because maybe like as a lot of emotional people growing up, like you had this sense of enthusiasm, or something made you feel like you were too much and that you had to bring it in, and you couldn't be as much as you were. And that's unfortunately a common thing with people who grow up with emotional centers that are defined. Does that resonate for you at all?
Yeah, kind of like, almost like flamboyant at times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, that's who you're meant to be. And people who are off put by that are probably the people who need you the most, but you can't force it,
no,
right? You can't. Yeah, and it's hard.
It has a lot to do with my Uranus and Pluto in the first house.
Oh yeah, I mean, your first house, your first house is completely filled. You have North Node in Aries, so you're entering. You're finishing out your nodal return too. So this is really, I mean, there's so much information. There's just so much in your chart that is coming up, and you're in a perfection year of the 9th house. So you just entered that August 24th. So the fact that you're wanting to move and go to a different country,
Yeah.
and possibly publish another book.
Oh,
9,000
my book.
publications.
I gave my book to my publisher, to my editor yesterday, last night.
Oh my god!
I finished it. Yeah, I finished it. Book
Yay,
Omega.
you got it in before Pluto left.
Well, it's at my editor, so she's got to look it over now, and
Yeah.
I'm really not too sure if she'll get the editing done before Capricorn Pluto is gone. She may not be able to have time, but that doesn't matter to me. Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I was
Yeah.
gonna say Pluto in the 6th is not bad for, or Pluto in Aquarius is not gonna be detrimental to that.
No,
I think the
fine.
important thing is that you had a goal of you finishing it, and you did it, regardless of what she does and what you have to change, all those things. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's my niece is doing it. My niece Daphne, she's editing my book, and she's 21 years old. She's going to Loyola, and she's got six credit hours right now. So she's got a full load. And she said she told me at first, she goes, I'll probably get it done by the end of the month. And I'm like, can you do it before the 16th? I don't know what's going to happen. But my sister may actually help her edit the book. My sister's an assistant principal at a middle school, so my sister may help her edit the book. So there's a chance, but it doesn't matter to me. Whatever she gets it done, I don't want to rush her. I wanted to do a good job with editing the book. I don't want to rush her or anything like that. So it doesn't matter to me.
Well, that's another thing that's interesting too in your human design chart is you have a completely open root center as well. So you've got completely open G center and a completely open root, and the root is pressure and adrenaline.
Really?
So that is actually another area where a lot of people, if you're around somebody who defines your root center, a lot of times it can make you feel very stressed out. And society may feel like you have to rush things or have a full agenda of things to do. But the open root and the quad rightness of you is really inviting you to, yes, you're a manifesting generator and you can do a lot of things at once. But it's asking in what ways do you allow yourself to just receive? In what ways do you allow your body to lead your life in a way rather than, okay, I'm doing this, because you have so much strength in your sacral and in your throat. And so it can be very easy for you to be led by that a lot of times. But when I looked in your chart, there were so many areas of it, which was so much focused on your body and the design, which is more about receiving for you. So I guess my question is, do you have any sort of practices in your life that allow for that receiving rather than you putting things out there?
Yeah, I'm a recovering drug addict, and I've got over 29 years clean. In fact, November 20th is going to be my 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so amazing.
I've developed a relationship with my higher power, which I choose to call DiViNiTY or the divine. And I basically pray and meditate in the morning and at night. And in all honesty, I don't stop there. I am unceasingly praying all the time. Even now when I'm talking to you, the divine is with me.
Yeah.
It's like my best friend, That's the way I look at it. So... And I realized that the divine, I came up with an acronym for God. Okay. Guiding one's divinity.
Ah, I like that.
You like it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my book. I wrote it in my first book, and I wrote it in my second book too, of course. And it's right here. Why can't I find it? I thought I had it in bold. Yeah, guiding one's divinity. Yeah, that's how it is, and it makes it clear to me that I'm guided by divinity, and
Yes.
I wrote a poem in the book that I just gave to Daphne, and it talks about being the co-captain. You know, and divinity is the captain of my ship, and I'm the co-captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, well, those are beautiful
Pray
practices.
unceasingly. I pray unceasingly. I don't stop with my connection to my higher power. Yeah.
What's interesting is I actually looked at the transits. I looked at November 20th, 1994, and I realized that that was about like some of the transits that were happening then. You were having your Mars return,
Yeah.
and then Saturn was in Pisces in your 7th house.
Uh-huh.
And we're having that now.
Yeah,
almost.
I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It's very wild. And I wonder, like, I mean, the Mars in the 12th can really, I feel like any planet you have in the 12th house is having like a pulse on the collective unconscious, and also feeling guided by something bigger than yourself. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much synchronicity in your life, and you can't help but believe in something higher. And a lot of times, like being a recovering drug addict, I often find that many of them are actually the most sensitive, the most spiritual. But when you're young or misguided, or you go through trauma, like having your father die at such a young age, and the world isn't there to support this sense of your spirituality and your inner life, your receptivity, your level of awareness, and then we cope with different things, But Mars in the 12th is such a spiritual, you're like a spiritual warrior, right?
That's it. That's what I call Mars in the 12th, the spiritual warrior.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we're in sync with that.
Yeah.
And it kind of just reminds me of your vocation in human design, which is to show others how to be full of God, to embody being full of God. Like it kind of goes in with that really amazingly. But I wonder, like, and I think about the nodal return and how it's pushing you into this completely new path of moving to Greece and doing that. And this is your new evolutionary path that you're headed towards. And I also am really curious to see what is happening when the South Node sequentially goes over all of your planets.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing fireworks display.
Yes. And I wonder, when you got sober in November 20th, 1994,
yeah,
what made you really get to that spot that you're like, okay, I'm gonna get sober?
Basically what happened was I was going to college and university for 9 years. I was going to college. It took me, and I went to 4 different universities. I kept switching universities. And then I had my friend Tom, and he got promoted to a manager at a Radio Shack, and he had us come in there one day to help him, do inventory. And me and my other friends were like, "Fuck this shit, let's get high and let's go to the bar, And then I got to thinking, like, you know what? I'm just about to graduate. I don't want to be a manager at a freaking Radio Shack. I'm like, if I get out of school and I get a job, I can't use drugs anymore. The party's over, because the MO was motive apparatus. The MO was I'm a college student. I party, and I partied.
Yeah.
I always partied, and then I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? The party's over, and I was in my bedroom one night, and I looked up in the sky, looked up at the ceiling, and I raised my hands. And I said, "I'll do anything you want. Just don't ever let me use."
Wow.
And then my hands started coming down, and I got goosebumps, and my hair was at end, and it was warm sensation. It was tingling, and then as my hands were coming down, I got a thought in my head that said, "Why don't you get your ass to a meeting?" And I'm like, fuck. So I went and told my sister, because I was living with my sister and my mom at the time, and I told her, and she wasn't surprised. She's like, yeah, John, I knew you were using. I'm like, I thought I was hiding it from her and everything.
Yeah.
And so the next day I went to a meeting, and there was a guy there, and he had 20 years clean and sober. His name was Tom. He's passed on over the years, but he died clean. And when I saw Tom and he had 20 years, I said to myself, I go, if that motherfucker can stay clean for 20 years, this is going to be a cakewalk. And Jazz, it has been a cakewalk. This whole 29 years that I've been clean. I had a horrific divorce. Don't get me wrong, but other than that, it hasn't been that hard. I did the work, I did the steps, I did the writing, I looked internally. I found my higher power. I turned my life over to him, and I worked through the steps, and I looked at myself and my actions, and what I did an inventory, and I figured out what I liked about myself, what I didn't like about myself, and then I asked God to help me change. And then that it's been a cakewalk. It hasn't been that hard, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me,
well, it sounds like you just jumped right in and really did the work that was necessary.
Yeah, when I threw my hands up, that was my surrender.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it was like you completely surrendered to that higher power, and that allowed you to have. It was like, what a beautiful use of a Mars return.
That was a Mars return.
Yeah, you were having your Mars return.
Wow, in 1994.
I never
picked
you had
that
Mars
out.
in Leo.
Wow.
It was Mars in Leo, and you had Saturn in Pisces. So that's what I was wondering is Saturn in Pisces. When you talk about Tom, I was like, whenever I see Saturn in Pisces and you making a change and it's opposing all of your planets, it's really like some other person in some way becomes really instrumental. So whether that's a sponsor or you see someone and you're like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it, But then you were also having your Mars return and you were like, yeah, let's do this. And the fact that it's now coming up again, that same configuration, and yeah, it's just very interesting to see, especially when I was reading about all of the changes that you've made moving from NA after being there for so long and now going to AA.
Yeah, now I'm in AA.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, that's a big change. It's so interesting that 29 years ago, it's almost like a full Saturn cycle. So it's just very interesting that now 30 years later or 29 years later, you're revisiting joining NA, and now you've joined AA instead.
Yeah. And that's because I started going to both AA and NA. I met this guy Dimitri, and he was a newcomer, and I started going to both meetings with him, and going to meetings with AA and NA for about a year. I was doing both fellowships, and I was noticing that in Narcotics Anonymous, they weren't talking about God anymore. They weren't talking about God as a solution, and they weren't working steps like we used to. Something's happened. I don't know what it is. Maybe in our literature it got changed. I don't know what happened, but I decided, whenever I go to an AA meeting, they always talk about God every single time. They always talk about God as a solution, and they always praise God. And they didn't do that in NA, so I said, I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
This is not good for my recovery, so I jumped ship.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you made that decision, because when you're a quad right too, and when you have an open G center, because you're so receptive, being in the right environment is everything for you. If you are not with the right people,
it was getting
if you are
toxic.
not in the right, and you take it in, you take all of it
all
in.
the negativity, yeah.
So I'm really happy that I know it must have been difficult to leave some place that you've been for 29 years, but then coming to this place of understanding what you need is such a powerful and empowering process. And yeah, it's just so that you're aware and reaffirm that you making that decision to be in a better environment for you, the people around you, where you are at, it's going to very much affect your life and how it goes.
Yeah.
And it might be difficult, like I said, with all the first house placements, okay, one thing, I did some tarot before the reading,
Okay.
but before we go there, I'm going to ask you a question that I was asking the tarot, kind of. Is that, what is the most, what are you looking for today in this reading, in this session? Is it information? Is it validation? Is it connection? Is it just curiosity?
It's confirmation.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
And is that more about your decision to move to Greece?
Yeah.
Or is it?
That's the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I got in the tarot card reading, and then we'll discuss, about what you said. So when I asked, what does John want right now? I got the 9 of Wands, which is a lot of times comes up when somebody is going through a process of, they feel like they've been going through a lot, and there's been a lot of challenges or feelings of like competition, or that stuff. It can either be challenges to your position or challenges to your creative stance in something, or your creative project. But it's almost like there's a need for encouragement to keep going because you feel like things are changing, or you're feeling very challenged by your environment. And I wonder, I thought, I was like, I wonder if that's his issues with, Narcotics Anonymous. And it made me feel like, have those emotions been processed about the whole NA situation? Because as I was reading it, it felt like, it felt like there was a sense of like betrayal, which would make sense in my opinion. Like if you're feeling like not supported by people that you were trying really hard to support.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the decision to leave it towards the end, when I did it, July 1st was the first time I said, I'm going back. Well, the end of June. And for me, as I looked at all the information that I had, it was, and I don't want to be vulgar, it was easy as fuck to leave. Okay? I said, fuck you to everybody. I didn't say fuck you to everybody. I said goodbye to everybody. And I said my goodbyes, and it's over. I'm done. Yeah. It's almost like now that I think about it, it's like a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a divorce that I initiated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had several friends who left Narcotics Anonymous and went to AA over the years, over the past 5-6 years. I know several people that did what I did. So
I wonder if it's because AA seems to be like bigger, so it seems like there's more groups of them, and this is just from an outside perspective, so I'm not sure. But it just feels like I hear more, because I know a lot of people who were addicted to narcotics or did other drugs that go to AA rather than NA. And I didn't know, maybe it's more available, and because there's more people in it, it's more a robust program.
Well, I honestly, in my analysis, AA is more of a God-centered program than NA.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, and the difference between alcoholics and drug addicts, I mean, they're very similar, but drug addicts have like a despise of the divine, despise of God. They're more of a despise.
Oh.
They're more atheist. They're more God doesn't exist. And I got sick and tired of these people. It's like it's in the literature. God's there. Well, what are you talking about? And then I would ask them this question, and it would destroy them. I'd say, how do you explain coincidences without God?
Yeah.
And they did not know how to do it. And then they would talk behind my back, and they would what do you call it, talking behind your back? They would
gossip.
They would gossip, and they would backstab me and shit like that. Yeah. It's like, fuck these people, I don't need this shit. Excuse my language.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because July or the end of June, we had a full moon in Capricorn, which is in your 5th house, but it was obviously opposing the sun in Cancer at 29 degrees in your
groups.
11th house.
Yeah, and friends.
So it's like taking a stand for yourself, the 5th house, against a group. And
wow.
yeah. I wonder in what ways, having been in NA, in that environment where you didn't feel seen, validated, understood, or respected for your beliefs or whatever, because they didn't have the same beliefs, how much that was impacting your being.
It was frustrating.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. Nobody wanted to talk about God. Nobody wanted to talk about how God works in their lives. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I here? What the hell? This is recovery. It's in our symbol. It says God, service, society, and self. You know, it's like,
yeah.
What am I speaking a foreign language here? You know?
Yeah, and so this is really interesting because one of the themes that we talked about, the not self theme for manifesting generators, are frustration and anger.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you check in with yourself, and this is what I'm saying about you being so receptive, and in a lot of ways, it's like even without the tool of human design, you did decide to leave. All the tools can do is maybe help us get there faster or see it sooner. But when you notice frustration or anger, those are 2 emotions for you that you can immediately go to. I'm in my not self right now.
Not self, yeah.
I'm something isn't right. I'm not in the right place. I'm not with the right people. Something is up. It's a cue for you to get curious about what's going on. That's making me feel this way. And so regardless, I just think that you deciding to leave, I think was very past, or it was very overdue. And I'm very, very glad that you made the decision to do that, because it feels like it's going to set up the environment. Like we just have this new moon in Scorpio, right? In your 3rd house. Mm-hmm. The environment, your daily, things that you do on a routine basis, which is going to Alcoholics Anonymous, going to, and doing your meditation, all these things. I think you're going to see, and I talked about this in the video, that because of this decision, it's going to be monumental for you regarding that move to Greece and making it feel more aligned. And I honestly feel like had you not left NA, you may have not decided to go through with the Greece thing, because when your body and design is bogged down by frustration and anger, it can't get to the clear path.
Can't process properly, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want you to be really proud of yourself. And because I know, like you said, it's like a divorce. Like that's 29 years that you spent in that group. So,
right.
And know that to me, this feels like it's, I got the 8 of Swords when you were talking about it, when you were talking about NA, and I could feel your frustration, and the 8 of Swords.
Yeah, I'm
really
pretty vocal. I don't keep my emotions to myself. It's really hard for me to do.
Well, and here's the thing is, like, you shouldn't. And that's the thing that I was saying about people, like, conditioning society, conditioning us into believing that, I'm just it's emotional. I can't keep it to myself. And it's like, well, you're an emotional person. You're an emotional solar plexus. You're emotional authority. Like, I think the best thing for people who are emotional authorities to be okay with is the feeling of rejection and a feeling of recognizing that when you're too much for people, it's about them and not you.
Yeah, I totally see that. And let me go back to ADT, knocking on doors. People would tell, like my ex-wife, she's told me, she goes, if you came to my house, I would slam the door in your face. Okay?
Oh, man.
And then, like, in an instant, I told her, I go, well, I'll just go to your neighbor. What's the big deal? I'm like, so you slam the door in my face. Big fucking deal. I'll go to your neighbor. Yeah. Because I realized that every no that I got me closer to my next yes.
Yeah.
That's it. It's real simple. No? Okay, big fucking deal. Next. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like, you know, what type of people you attract in relationships. Are they super watery and emotional?
They're all fixer-uppers.
Yeah.
Like Pisces.
Pisces,
Yeah, they're all fixer-uppers. They all got something to fix, and now I'm sick and tired of fixing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could care less if they're broken. I'm being kind of facetious right now, you know, but I'd rather like help them help themselves instead of helping them. You know,
I think that's the only way you can help somebody.
Just help them help themselves.
Yeah.
That's why I mean people know me for astrology and numerology and stuff like that, and I do people's numbers all the time, and I tell them what personal years they're in, and they're amazed. They're like, yeah. I figure out when their personal 1 year was, and they go, wow, that is when I got a new job, or that is when I moved back. You know, it's like, yeah, it's numerology. You know, it's like that's how it is.
So cool.
That's what I want to do with my channel. I want to help people know themselves. You know.
Yeah.
Because I realize the better somebody knows themselves, actually what happens is the better they know God.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's my whole premise. Know thyself. I want to teach people, introduce them to numerology, astrology, human design. Well, I don't know too much about human design, but you know what I mean. Those methodologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know about astrology and numerology and all this stuff, like human design, I was just talking to another astrologer about this. Like,
I'm gonna get a glass of water. I'll be right back.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Keep talking all this. Listen, hold on. Human design. No. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Oh. Human design, I believe, is really going to be important in the next few years. And I'm really hoping a lot of astrologers start leaning into it more, because it is so instrumental. Like, astrology is so amazing for timing and seeing, you know, what is happening, what could be happening. And yet human design is so amazing for your energy and how to best utilize your energy. And I can see things so clearly in human design about people's energies and how to best use it that I could still get to with astrology. It's just very apparent with human design. It's right in your face, and it's not really about timing like astrology is. So I want to see.
How did you learn about human design, or how did you learn how to read it and stuff?
So I started human design by experimenting. And so in human design, there's a process called deconditioning. And Ross says it takes 7 years, and I'm sure it does, but you don't have to wait 7 years to start, you know, feeling the effects. But the biggest thing, like I said, is that he's very big, especially on people who are very receptive, but everyone really, that they shouldn't dive into the information at first too much. Learn about strategy, authority, maybe your profile type, like you being a 2-4, but really just knowing what is a manifesting generator, and especially as an emotional authority, practicing what it feels like to wait, to make people wait for you. Because what happens is, and I've tested this, so this is how the first 2 years, I didn't really study that much. I found out what I was, and I started practicing my strategy and authority, and I started integrating it and embodying it, and then I was ready to learn more. So then I started reading Ra's books. So he has like 2 books that are source material, people call it. And then and then there's another book that he kind of co-wrote with. And so I started reading that. And then I got really into Gene Keys. And then it just but I think the number one thing is the experimentation. So like the thing with emotional authorities is that you make people wait because you recognize and respect your emotional process. Your emotional process is very deep. It's deeper than other people's who don't have emotional authority. So what society doesn't understand is that you need to respect the depth in which I or you, as an emotional authority, go over my decisions. There is a depth to me. When I make a decision, I want to see it from every perspective. I want to go through my waves. And when we don't respect ourselves enough to give that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna sleep on it. I'll let you know tomorrow. Because in that sense, and it seems like you have a better time with this than most people, is there's a slight rejection, right? Because it's a not right now. Even though it's not a no, but it's a not right now. And a lot of people have a hard time saying to someone, not right now. So it's just saying, not right now, let me sleep on it and I'll let you know tomorrow or whatever, depending on how big the decision is. People say 24 hours, but for big decisions, I need like 72 hours. It just depends on your body. And that's why you experiment and you figure it out. And in respecting your emotional authority, you will attract the people who also will respect your emotional authority, or deflect the people who are like, who's this guy? Who does he think he is? That he makes me, he's gonna make me wait 2 days to give me an answer. And in that is how you determine who's the right environment, who's the right person, because you demonstrate, I respect my emotional authority, and you see who will too. And even then, you still may decide no, and that's okay. So like, for example, when I got laid off, they came to me and then they were like, oh, we want to give you your job back. And I was like, you know what? I got to think about this. Give me like 24 hours. Gave me 24 hours. It wasn't enough. I said, okay, I need more time. They said, okay, no worries. I was scared. I thought, okay, if I keep asking for time, they're just going to be like, never mind. We don't want you anymore, you know? But through that process, it made me realize like, oh no, they're respecting how deeply I'm thinking about this. Right. And then they started sweetening the deal. You know, it was like the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. They were like, no, okay, we'll do this for you, or we'll do this for you. And then I even, you know, after all of that, I decided, no, I don't want to come back, you know? But it made me feel in my body what it feels like when it's the right place, or that someone actually respects that process I went through. So that is, I think, the most important way to learn about human design. For at least, you're a manifesting generator, your process is a lot faster because I'm a projector. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the number one step, is to start practicing. And I started doing it in little ways. Like when my friends would ask me to go to dinner, I'd say, you know what, let me think about it. I'll let you know tomorrow. You know, and it was in those little ways that you start building. And then the next day I was like, oh man, I really don't want to go. I love her, but I don't want to go.
You know how I've been going to these a lot of AA meetings now, and people they like my shares, they like how I speak, and they go, John, you're gonna come next week, and then you know what I tell them? I'm planning on it. Yeah. And then that diffuses everything, because I'm planning on it. But if something comes up, then you know. And
you're like, willing to.
I started going out with these groups of people for breakfast, and we would meet like 10 o'clock in the morning. The meeting was 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday in Park Ridge, and I would go there kind of regularly. And then then like something came up, and I think I had a late night, and I didn't go the next day, and then I went back the week after, and we would be going after the meeting. We would be going for breakfast all the time and to eat, you know, with like 3 or 4 people, sometimes 5 people, and then one time I came and this girl says to me, she goes, why didn't you come last week? And I said to her, I usually do only 2 meetings a week, and I already did my 2 meetings, so I didn't think I needed any more, so I just decided not to come. She goes, you should have still come. I'm like, what are you talking about? I should have still come. I'm like, I'm here now. You know, and then we went out to breakfast, and we had a talk, and we had breakfast and everything. But that's how I do it. I'll be like, I'm planning on it, you know. And
that's actually a great way. That's amazing.
Yeah. Because I want to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell in speaking with you for the last, like 55 minutes, that everything I saw in your chart is very true. And I feel like you have such a beautiful level of awareness about life. And it's a very deep awareness. And it's very similar to mine, which is why I think we're here right now. Because there is a resonance. Like when you speak, I resonate very deeply with, you know, even things like know thyself. Like that's something that I say very often, or and that's really my main goal, is to also help people know themselves better, because I believe the same, like everything you're saying about your beliefs and stuff is so on point. And I want you to know that, like you said, not everyone is like you.
Yeah.
And in this process of putting yourself out there, I find that people who are quad right people,
yeah,
they're slower in building momentum, because you're vibrating quite high in awareness. And so in order for people to see you, they have to be kind of near there or looking to that. And so I just want to say, you know, I know you're doing your YouTube channel, you're writing this book, and I just want to say that if you ever feel discouraged, just know that it's hard being so aware.
Yeah.
Really, like it's hard in this world where people, and I think when the nodes move into your 7th house, I'm really interested, because not only obviously the South Node going through all that, all of your planets, but the North Node's in your 7th. So you're going to, I think, really be attracting, and you already had the eclipse on that axis, so you're going to be attracting more of the right people who are going to pull you toward that type of where you're trying to move toward. And so I'm actually really excited for this nodal axis, and I really think that other people are going to become very instrumental in your journey. And I'm looking here. So do you know when in May you are moving, or do you
it's
not?
It's probably going to be close to July, because my sister's got to be done with her school, so she can have time off, her break. So it's going to be in like June, July, probably July is when I'm going to be going there. Yeah. And right now, there's two things that I can see right now. My Mars is going to be going into Leo. Mars is going to be going into Leo, which is my 12th house, pretty soon. And what else did I want to say? Pluto is going to be going into Aquarius, which is about my work. And my work, I can see me like working non-freaking stop for like 20 years now. I got so much that I've researched, and now it's like, let's get it into action. You know, and I got to strategically like put stuff boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. You know, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I got all these books that I got ready to go. I was an apartment building manager for my mom for over 30 years. So I got a book called Lording of the Land.
Oh.
You want to see the cover?
Yeah. Oh, let me stop sharing so I can. Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, Lording of the Land, yeah. I want to write that. Tomorrow I want to start writing that book.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got another one, a children's book I want to do, and it's called I Want to Save Animals, because I'm a vegetarian, you know.
Yeah,
so I want to save animals, and I want to write that book too. And I'm probably going to have to get like an artist to do the artwork. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there's other books that I got lined up. I got Ethereal Love in our Archetypical Playground, which is a 32-page essay that I wrote. And I want to get that out too. Anyways.
I love that you just allow yourself to create all these different things. And you were saying something about like money and like how money hasn't really ever been an issue for you.
I never had a problem with money. Never. I never worried about it ever. Never.
That is a quad right's dream. I just want to let you know, because their biggest concern with quad rights, because quad rights are, honestly, in my opinion, they're like aliens.
Thank you.
They are. Because
that's Uranus.
Yeah, you're so different. You're so in the level of awareness. It's almost like this ethereal being, and a lot of times they struggle in the material world. But you've got, I mean, you're a 3811, and then you've got such a full first house that I can see why, you know. But I'm just letting you know that as a quad right, that's their biggest concern, is that they have difficulty grounding in this reality, and and making money and doing all these earthly things, and that prohibits them from using their creativity and their spirituality and all these things. And so the fact that that's not a limitation for you is really, really special.
I've been very patient.
Yeah.
I knew things would line up. My mom passed away in June last year, June 2023.
Aww.
And my dad passed away when I was about 18 years old. So now there's nothing holding me here. Me and my sister have 4.5 acres of land in Greece from my father. So it's like, what am I doing here if I got 4.5 acres of land in Greece, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go there and do everything.
So do you have what's your biggest concern about moving to Greece? Like, what are you feeling are you scared that it's not going to work out? Are you afraid of being lonely? Are you afraid of being stuck there?
No,
like,
I'm not afraid of being lonely. I've never been afraid of being lonely. I used to knock on 100 doors a day,
Except
Jazz.
your first houser with North Node and Aries.
What? Yeah, was that unusual? I like being alone. I'm not afraid of it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And the thing that I'm concerned with is right now the land that we have is there's 6 other families that have 5 other families. There's 6 all together that have the land there, and I'm trying to like communicate with my cousins on whether we should sell the land or build on the land or get a resort on the land, or maybe get a resort on 4 of them, and then 2 of them we build like apartment buildings that we could each have as a timeshare, you know. So that's like the stuff is unsettled right now. But I mean,
so it's more like practical.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it.
But you're feeling good about it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm getting the hell out of here. America, yeah, I'm getting out of here.
We're actually, it's so funny you mentioned that, because I am as well trying to. We are trying to, next year we're going to check out a few different places, but we are hoping in the next couple of years we'll be in Europe.
Yeah, my niece is going to be, she wants to get a job in Barcelona. She was in Madrid for like 4 months, and she wants to get a job in Barcelona. And she just got a job with an insurance company, Chubb, and she's going to be here for 2 years, and then they've got offices in Barcelona, so she's probably going to relocate there.
Yeah, we were thinking of Valencia, Spain.
Oh,
which
it's
is
beautiful.
Yeah.
I almost went there.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Madrid for like about a week for Thanksgiving last year with my sister, and we were going to go to Valencia, but we decided to go to Segovia instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Barcelona, and Barcelona's really nice, but it's definitely a younger crowd, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And so Valencia seemed like a better option, but we like Spain. We can speak Spanish.
Hola.
But yeah, I'm trying to leave before 2027.
Yeah. I'm a sleeping phoenix.
Huh?
I'm a sleeping phoenix.
Yes, you are. And it's very it just reaffirms like all your first house planets, North Node and Aries, because a sleeping phoenix is very much about the self.
It is.
And it's very much here to be about transformation of the self over and over again. But it's not tribal. So it's like, there are a lot of things in your chart that make me believe that you do care about connecting with other people.
I do.
Really do.
Fantastically, yeah.
Yeah. And you know how to foster deep connection. It's just for you the struggle of finding the right people. And that's what I said, like the authority, your emotional authority and strategy is what can help you bring the right people. So as you're moving into North Node in your 7th house, I'm very happy that you're learning more about strategy and authority, because it's going to give you a tool to see who actually respects my emotional depth enough for me to give them my time, my space, my energy, and who can, because like I said, as a receptive person, the people around you pull things out of you. So when you have the right people, the right things get pulled out of you.
Right.
And so I'm just really excited for you to experience that and experiment with it. And I would love to, I mean, like I said, it's a slower process for experimentation rather than learning, but I really want to follow up on that with you.
All right.
And just the emotional, like, you know, yeah, just practicing your strategy and authority more.
I've got this book here.
Okay.
By Shaitan Parkin.
Yeah.
I got 3 of his books. He has a book on lines, and then he has a book on another thing too. And I met him at a conference in 2018 in Chicago, an astrology conference with Nadia Shah and the Leo King.
Okay, yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got pictures of them and everything.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So maybe if I go, I've never been to an astrology conference, but if I go, maybe I'll let you know and see if you're going.
Yeah. That's great. We had a great time with them. Shaitan, I like his approach to, but he doesn't talk anything about environments. You know, like I'm a cave environment, you know?
Yes. So the caves environment is really about security. You can read all sorts of things. Like, my office is in a basement, and they say that's the best place for a caves person. I'm a caves person.
You're
as
cave
well.
too?
Yeah, caves too. Yeah, except you're a passive cave. I'm an active cave, so
Okay.
It's a little bit different. Where you're more open into letting people into your cave, and I'm more about, like, I need to be by myself down here. Like, I need to be, but you will read all sorts of things about it. But I think the biggest thing is that caves people need to feel like they're safe in their environment, that they have, you know, I'm very big on feng shui. And so,
Me
like,
too.
that kind of goes into the sense of, like, not having, like, even having my back to this window. I changed my office so many times because having a back, I wanted to make sure I can view the door.
Right.
So that I can see who's coming in and out. And that's really what it's about. Wherever you are, like they say, caves people hate nature.
What?
And I don't. I'm like, I love nature. I love being hiking. But I like feeling safe where I'm hiking. So, like, whereas my boyfriend can just go out and in the woods, he's in mountains environment and feel totally safe. I like having some sort of idea of what's around me. So, like, a lot of times I like to go camping in a car, you know, or like in our bus. So it's always about sensing, how can I feel more safe and secure in this environment? How can I position my body in a way that lets me see who's coming in, makes me feel safe? If that means having 10 locks on your door at night, have 10 locks on your door at night. Because when you feel safe, your body relaxes, and that your design just comes out of you much easier, and you're less in the mind.
I think that's why I was good at selling alarm systems.
Yeah.
Because of the safety. Yes. They saw that I was safety, and they're like, "Yeah, this guy knows what I'm talking about," you know?
Yes.
Because I'd be like in the house. I'd be like, "Are you concerned about this window over here in the basement?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah.
I go, "Really?" I go, "Somebody can come in through that." And he goes, "Yeah, let's get it
Yeah.
secure," you know?
Exactly. That's so funny. I wouldn't have put that together, but yeah. So the thing with your environment, though, is that with all of the variables and all of these things in human design, the reason why I think it's important to just start with strategy and authority and experimenting is because oftentimes all of these things, like, for example, your appetite, like I think your diet is cold. So, like, a lot of times people will be like, I hate cold food. Like, I hate it. And it's because you are living a not self, right? And so we want to get you close. So changing your environment and your food when you're out here living in the not self isn't going to feel as good. So it's like, we always want to move more toward living our design through strategy and authority. And then you'll start realizing that it becomes more natural for you to be going towards certain things. So, like, eating more cold food, or, you know, like, wanting to be in environments that are darker. And because what happens when we're in the not self is we have transference. So transference is when we go into the opposite pole. And so like for caves is mountains. So a lot of caves people might think, I hate being stuck in a small space that's dark. I want light, I want brightness. And it's like, you're probably living a little bit in the not self. And so you're not, so it's
interesting.
That's why when it comes to human design, it's like, I really just emphasize deconditioning first, and then we get into all the nitty gritty, all the details. I'm sorry, as a Virgo, that my Virgo stellium, I'm like, let's not do details. And you're like,
that's why I got a wall behind my back, because I'm a cave.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
a cave.
Yes.
Yeah. And I behind this desk, there's another desk. I got two desks, and there's a wall there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just feeling, positioning yourself, having a wall on back, or being able to, like, for me, it's like when I sit on an airplane, I like to be on the aisle.
Me too.
If I can,
yeah.
So that I can like move, I can move freely. I can see what's happening. I can move away if I need to. Just like always thinking of safety and security more than, let's say, my partner who's mountains. He's not really worried as much about that. Like obviously, some people have like, you know, certain things that quirks, but generally it's like I'm always thinking like, how safe am I here? How secure am I here? And that's kind of my main go-to. But I didn't recognize that, and I actually rejected that a lot when I was first in my experiment. And I was more scared. I was feeling the fear rather than how can I make myself feel more safe right now? I was just like scared all the time of what's going to happen to me. Whereas now I just, whenever I see a situation, if I feel the fear, I say, okay, how can I make myself feel more safe? And, you know, recognizing that, hey, it's okay. Some people just need to feel more safe than others,
right.
More secure than others.
Right. And we're all different.
So,
that's the whole thing with this
yes,
world.
That's the
we're all
whole
different,
thing.
you know?
Yeah. And human design is so big about that. It's like, deconditioning from what other people want you to be, what other people want you to do in relationships, in career, in, you know, society. And in 2027, we're going to start seeing that slowly dismantle. But I think we're already seeing it now.
There's going to be a shift happening in the next 6 months to a year, and that's why I want to get out of here. And
I know.
I want to get out of here.
The astrology of the U.S. is crazy.
Yeah, the dollar is backed up by the trust of the people.
I know.
It's like, really? And I tell this to people, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
isn't it crazy?
Yeah, they can't see they can't do the connection.
No.
It's like, you know what? This conversation's over. I said what I had to say. Let's move on to the next person.
You gotta find the right people. I'm 100%. And I feel like that, honestly, that we have that level of awareness. And it's unfortunate that we have a time limit on this, because I feel like we could talk forever.
That's all good. I appreciate your time.
But yeah, no, I appreciate your time too, and your trust. So did you still want to do Reiki?
Yeah, if you've got the time, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But I don't think I paid for it though.
Yeah, you can just PayPal me or whatever. I can email you afterwards.
Do it, yeah. We'll do it that way.
Yeah. Have you had Reiki before?
I think once.
Okay.
I was laying on a table. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So,
years ago. Like 2005.
Wow. Okay. So that was kind of my journey with Reiki too. I got it a couple times and I was like, eh. And I didn't really believe in it until I actually went to the...
I'm going to get another water. Go ahead. I can still hear you.
I didn't believe in it until I went to training, and I've had really amazing experiences with it. But what I will say is that usually what I'll do is, for the distance ones, I'm going to go off camera, sit in mute, you know, do all that. And the best case scenario for you to feel it is to lay down and to try to meditate or get into a meditative space. You may feel sensations. A lot of people I work with see colors and feel tingles, but you don't have to. You may not feel anything, you may not see anything, but the energy is being done, right? So as someone like you who's highly aware, I know you kind of already know this about energy work, that needs time to integrate for some people, or it just, some people feel it, some people see things, and then other people just don't. So don't feel bad if you can't feel anything or if you don't see anything. Just let whatever wants to happen happen. And honestly, I ask people what they want me to work on, but as soon as I enter or I start doing Reiki and I go into your energy, it just kind of does what it needs to do. And so I try not to, once again, as a receptive person myself, I try not to focus on it, what it's doing. I just want to see what it wants to do and then allow that to happen. And then what we will do is I'll come back. So I'll do that for about 20 minutes, and then we can come back and talk about what you experienced. I'll talk about what I saw and what I experienced, and then we'll finish it out.
You want me
and
to
just talk about?
You want me to? I can lay on my couch. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm gonna turn off my video and I'm gonna put on mute, and then I'll come back in about 20 minutes, and I'll just let you know that I've finished, and then we can talk about it.
All right.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna mute myself now. All right, John. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So, how are you feeling?
Oh. I'm feeling warm and abundant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that? Yeah. Tell me any of the things that you were feeling during that. That was a pretty interesting experience. It always is for me, but it's always different and unique, and it's always very interesting. What were you feeling throughout that process? If anything.
I was feeling calm and centered. Relaxed, at ease. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when I connected to your energy, almost immediately, it was like I clicked in with you. And I swear, and I said in my mind, I said, "Hey, John," and I smiled. It was like we were there together. It was very, very interesting. It was very immediate. And it was just an immediate, I saw you and it was like, I was like, "Hey, John." Like, it was so cool. And at one point, I was feeling your energy, like trying to give back to me, like while I was trying to give Reiki, you were trying to like come in and do something too.
Really?
It wasn't just, it was very, very strong. And towards the end, now I was giving the colors purple and blue. And I was imagining, it kept feeling like I was wanting to make you lighter, like make you, there wasn't a sense of heaviness to you, but it was just trying to lean into the watery element, and purple. It was like something needed to feel calming and relaxing, rather than like invigorating, like yellow or red or something. But at multiple points, I would feel your energy very strongly, and I started getting tingly, and it was like a very like regal energy, but it was also very joyful. Like that's the thing, that whenever I would connect to it, I would get a smile on my face. There was like randomly I would get a smile on my face. I'm just saying that because the other day I did Reiki on someone, and instantly when I connected to their energy, I started crying my eyes out.
Wow.
And yeah, it's so crazy. But yours was like so like I want to say like jolly. The sense of like enthusiasm came up very strong for me in that moment. I was just like, wow, his energy right now feels quite upbeat, quite light, quite yeah, there wasn't I was checking your chakras, and I wasn't feeling like there was any sort of imbalance. The only thing I wanted to ask was how is your health?
Well,
Has anything changed in your health recently?
When I went to Greece, I gained 20 pounds.
Okay.
And I lost a little bit, and now I gained kind of it back. And you know astrocartography?
Yeah.
Okay. My stellium, you know where it is when I go to Greece?
Where?
My 10th house.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm asking though because I felt this weight, you would gain weight that was new. When did you go to Greece though?
May
May of this year?
May of this year. May, for 26 days I went there. And basically what happens is Jupiter went into Gemini. And I'm trying to get a connection here. What is it with Jupiter?
Jupiter is expansion. So generally, actually,
I went to Greece, and that's my Jupiter line.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what it is. Yeah, that's why I gained the weight, because I was on my Jupiter line.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which honestly, with Jupiter making you gain weight, I want to just let you know in Vedic astrology, they believe as long as you're healthy, especially if you have Jupiter in the first, as long as you're a healthy person and you're eating well, a little bit of weight is actually okay. And also because you are a quad right and so porous, having a little bit of extra weight is not bad for you. It actually is like an insulation from the outside world. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit fine, but obviously it's like being healthy. I felt that this weight, I kept hearing weight gain, and it's a sensitive subject because I don't want to be like, have you gained weight? You know, it's a weird thing to ask someone, but it kept coming up. And one thing that it made me feel like though was that it actually also had something to do with you. I kept seeing a connection to your sense of self-worth. It was like, and I kept hearing about NA, and it was something with leaving that situation and your self-worth and how that was connected to you gaining weight recently.
Oh, wow.
So, and I looked at your human design, and you have an open ego, which is open center of self-worth. Okay. And yeah, I'm not sure what the connection is, but I just kept seeing this like recent weight gain, and it was connected to this stuff, this recent struggles that you're having and your self-worth. So maybe you can meditate on that. I don't know if it really matters, but just well,
the way I could connect it is spiritually I'm pretty fit. However, bodily, is that the word? Bodily?
Yeah,
bodily.
That sounds like a good word.
Physically, that's a better word.
There we go. Okay,
physically is, I've been starting to go on more walks lately and exercise and get my bike and stuff like that. And I've kind of like, that's one thing I've been struggling with for so many years is getting light exercise. I don't like heavy physical exercise, but
yeah,
I think I gotta get my walks in.
Yeah.
And now this past few weeks, I've been sacrificing my walks for working more and more on my book. And now that I've got done with my book, I'd like to go back to my regular walking, And
Yeah.
because I think I'm like 10 pounds overweight now because I can feel it like dirt going upstairs and stuff like that. It's like not good. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
The reason why I'm starting to believe that it's the Pluto in the sixth house though too, because
Pluto's in the sixth house now?
it's about to
It's
be
about
for
to be.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
and that's health.
So yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not good.
Well, it is, I think the fact that we're having this conversation, maybe that's why, is because it needed to come out, because I just got done. I'm in my Pluto in the sixth.
Oh, you are?
And yeah, I'm a Leo rising. So it obviously manifests differently for everybody, but I will say that attention to the body is going to be some sort of a theme. So I like the fact that you're recognizing that even before Pluto moves in there for good, although you've gotten like a little taste of that obviously, but yeah, something to definitely be aware of when it comes to your body health, your health and illness. Yeah. Very interesting.
When was Pluto in Aquarius this year? It was in February or?
It was it was until
you don't have
September
to,
1st.
It was in Aquarius for how? I mean, it was for a few months in Aquarius, right? In the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's until September 1st. That's when it moved into
Capricorn.
I think it's been in here for most of the year, honestly.
So basically, when I went to Greece, it was in Aquarius.
Yes.
So that was my sixth house when I gained the weight.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, that's
Yes.
that's what I wanted to figure out. Okay.
Yep.
Holy Christ.
Yeah. Well, you're getting, you're figuring it out now, so it's better than waiting till the next 20 years and seeing. But I think it's I think that the spirit wants you to focus on that right now too.
Yeah, I went to a vegan event a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about cheese and how cheese was like made, and I didn't like it. So now that's one thing I gotta like cut out is cheese. If I cut cheese out, I won't be a vegetarian anymore. I'll be a vegan.
Vegan.
And
Yeah.
So
Cheese for me was very inflammatory. All dairy is for me very inflammatory.
It is inflammatory. I agree.
Yeah. So when I first got diagnosed with my autoimmune stuff, that's what I first took out was gluten and dairy. So I'm gluten-free again now too, but and vegan. I will say though that I became vegan during my Pluto in the sixth house situation.
I've been like eating for the past week. I've been eating the rest of my pizzas, my frozen pizzas. And,
Yeah.
And I've been eating them like, fuck this shit, because I know that I don't want to eat it, but I should just throw it away.
Yeah, I mean,
or give it to somebody, And when I drive Uber, what I usually do for the past couple of years is I bring 2 bananas and 2 apples, and that's a meal. So I usually eat out, and then I eat 2 bananas and 2 apples as my second meal. Because I call it my second lunch. And lately I've been eating like bananas and apples and other fruits, of course, as meals now.
okay.
In the morning,
and it's fulfilling.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I eat every like 4 hours. So in the morning, I have avocado with 2 pieces of toast, banana, strawberries, blueberries, and then the orange juice and coffee. That's usually my breakfast every morning. So, yeah.
So I do have another reading coming up soon.
Okay.
Otherwise, would be here forever, and I would be a willing participant in that. But I want to ask, what is one thing that you can walk away from in this reading? And obviously, it doesn't have to be anything big. Some people, I need to integrate things before I know, but I just want, what is the most compelling thing that you've learned or important thing that we've talked about in this reading for you?
I think when you were talking about the not self and the frustration and the anger, that I mean, I realized that I don't like being frustrated. That's not a good place for me to be. And usually it's a place where I don't choose to be. It's like a place, it's like I'm placed there. I'm placed in frustration, you know?
Yeah.
Like what are you putting me here for, you know?
Yes.
And I don't like it. Yeah.
That's the whole environment affecting you so much. And I just want to make sure I say this too, that the other side and the feeling of the self, the true self for manifesting generators is satisfaction.
Right.
It's feeling a sense of satisfaction. So we're trying to move from frustration and anger to satisfaction. So when we are feeling satisfied, we know we are in the right place with the right people doing the right things.
Right.
The reason why I ask this is because I really believe that if we can put some action right away, even in a small way, it can be so helpful for us to integrate it into our consciousness. So I wanted to ask, is there a small way that we can kind of ritualize this understanding today? And this can look like, you know, you'll say, okay, I'm going to journal about all the ways that I can see my frustration is linked to this. And, you know, when I put myself in situations that I'm not happy in, or you can decide to take a walk today and think about it or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a walk as soon as we're done. That's for sure.
Awesome.
I got a new audiobook that I downloaded, so I'm going to start listening to that.
Yeah.
And in the past, ever since I got back from Greece, I've been like, I guess you can call it a quest for satisfaction. You know, because I got back into my human design books and stuff, and I watched a lot of the new videos that I haven't seen before, and I realize now that that question there, am I satisfied or will I be satisfied, like resonates so clearly that I mean, I don't care if people say no to me.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting more in the habit of not caring when I say no to other people.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
that's
nope.
The spirit.
No. You know? And then that because if basically if I find out that if somebody asks me to do something, I'll ask myself, is that going to be satisfying for me? And if the immediate answer is no, then I'm like, no, let's not go to Great America today, you know?
What I would challenge you with in that scenario is to, before you make that decision, is to wait.
Wait a little bit, huh?
Wait a little bit.
Yeah, before I respond.
Your authority, when you say, is this going to be satisfying? That's a beautiful question. I love that. But your authority needs time. So that guttural instinct.
The emotional authority, yeah.
Yes. If you're a sacral authority, yes, that's you listen, not immediate. But if you're emotional, ask yourself that and then let yourself sit on it for 12 to 24 hours, depending on how big the situation is, the decision is. Let yourself sit on it until you get to that more stable place.
Yeah, I've been more attuned to writing. I guess writing or surfing maybe is a better term. Surfing the wave of emotional authority, you know.
Yes.
You know, it's like, yeah, do I get off the surfboard? How do I get to shore, you know?
Yeah. And it's just by riding out the wave. I mean, you've got a pretty intense emotional wave, and it's really just about letting the highs be there and letting the lows teach you, and then kind of just riding it until you get to that space. And when you get to that space, this is why it's an experiment, is because nobody can tell you what that feels like. but I can tell you that it doesn't feel like, ah, or like, I'm so sad about this. It's like a knowing. It's almost like a knowing that you get. And you're like, and you can't think yourself out of it. That's the thing with emotional authority, is especially because you have a defined mind. You might get this knowing, but your mind might disagree. And so you really just have to trust the knowing that when you wait it out, am I satisfied? Sit with it for a day. Is this a situation that I think would bring me satisfaction? Sit with it for a day, and then just go with that instinct.
My uncle Peter, years ago at the restaurant, he would ask me, he goes, John, why do you use drugs? And you know what I told him? My mind says yes, but my body says no. That's what I told him.
Wow.
Way back in this was like in 87.
See, and that's what human design always says. It's like the mind is where the not self and society comes from.
Yeah.
And the mind is amazing. It's just not our decision-making skill.
Right.
That's not a tool but it's amazing for so many things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say it's bad. It's just that we use it to make, even in like Buddhism, we talk about that, right? Like, it's like the mind is beautiful for imagination, for all these things, but
the mind
not
is great
to make...
for analyzing, and that's what I am. I'm a Virgo who analyzes, so
Yes.
I have a tendency to float into my mind rather than and ignore my body, you know. And now this overweight thing is my body, and I'm ignoring it.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I gotta put some emphasis on that, because I realize when my body works better, my mind will work better too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
John, it was such a pleasure talking to you. And
Yeah, it's great talking to you too. Thanks, Jazz.
Yeah, and then just, if you want to use my videos, I guess just let me know
I'll let
which
you know.
ones, and then,
It
let me know.
won't be
Keep in
for a
contact.
while, but I'll let you know when I'm planning on doing something, you know. And I'll send me the link for the Reiki thing.
Okay.
And I'll get that out to you right now too.
Sure. Yeah, I'll probably do that a little bit later.
Whenever you can. Whenever you can.
Yeah.
Tonight or tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
And I stay in touch.
All right. Thanks, Jazz. Happy.
Thank you. I'll email you the recording as well.
Okay. In the email, you could send that then. Yeah. The link.
I'll send it all together.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. You're gonna end the
recording stopped.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna end it.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.